can't get over the frozen potatoes.
And the only reason they're frozen is because we didn't know. You didn't tell us.
So we ordered HelloFresh for Valentine's and it came late. It didn't have directions, so naturally we put it in the freezer.
I got it in here. This is the meals, and the meat is in here. So, and it is definitely thawed out.
Anybody would have done the same thing. You would have probably placed it in the fridge. Well,
it's cold. It ain't frozen at all. None of it's frozen.
We actually got a refund and we took a chance to cook the food because we don't want to waste anything. What are you making? And I let Chris choose whatever he wants me to cook for his lunch for the next day for work. It's chicken again.
But what will it go on? Well, you don't know, do you?
Everything is in there. You want this?
That one looks good.
Okay, so let's get the meat out.
What do you mean?
Well, it says meatballs, so we're gonna cook meatballs with creamy onion gravy. So we thought it came with meatballs, but apparently you have to make the meatballs. So makes sense. HelloFresh includes the meat, the beef. Now we're gonna go through the pack, the whole meal kit.
Breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs. Sour cream.
They always have sour cream, don't they?
Bell pepper, it looks like. Potato, onion.
What's that?
Seasoning.
Well, what kind of seasoning? Hold on. That's Philadelphia cheese. That is ground nutmeg.
Okay, that's going to be for your beef.
Nothing? No recipe?
No recipe again. Lots of sour cream and garlic powder. Well, so far I've enjoyed what I've ate.
What's that? Show it.
Beef. Probably beef bouillon or something. And another one.
It's beef seasoned.
But we're still not quite sure what we're dealing with.
I can't get over the frozen
potatoes. And the only reason they're frozen is because we didn't know. You didn't tell us.
Like there was no...
So,
I can't get over this.
HelloFresh dropped the ball on that one.
Frozen. So we're frozen. The sour cream wasn't frozen, and none of the spices were frozen, but the vegetables, meat was frozen. So we'll start with the ground beef, and I wonder how this will go. I'll have to Google the recipe again. I have to work with the thawed out potatoes. So it's so weird when potatoes get frozen and they get thawed out. They are very soft. The consistency is so much different than a regular potato, so you gotta just handle them a little bit different. And if you have a dull knife, be careful not to cut yourself. I looked up the recipe. I googled creamy meatball with onion gravy, HelloFresh, and it told me to make mashed potatoes out of the potatoes. I didn't really take off the skin because the potatoes were so soft. It was just weird. So I just figured I'll boil them and make them into mashed potatoes with skins. The skin of the potato is supposed to be healthy anyways. So need to bring the potatoes to a boil, cover them. I don't care how big or small the lid is. I just put a lid on. Now we're going to turn the ground beef into meatballs. Looking at the recipe, we're supposed to mash them with the panko and the garlic powder and a little bit of nutmeg, like 1/4 of it. But there's so much nutmeg still left over, so I put the nutmeg in my nutmeg container, which I had, so it'll be with family. I don't care. I just didn't want to waste it. Did they say a pinch of salt? You can just look at the recipe. I'll post it down there. And then pepper. And And then I mashed it all together with gloved hands just because I don't like the feel of meat in my hands. And it's weird to video and mash at the same time. So I angled the camera just right so I can use 2 hands to actually form the meatballs. It says on the recipe you can make 24 meatballs. Well, I wasn't really reading it right, and I only made 15. And so I lined a baking sheet and I lined it with some parchment paper because I'm trying to avoid aluminum foil just because it causes supposedly Alzheimer's or something. Who knows if that's true, but there you go, just round as can be. There you go, that's where I placed them. Just follow the temperature of the oven as directed in the recipe. And I think it says 15 minutes, but because I didn't really preheat the oven, I put it at 18 minutes to bake. And then here we are putting some butter in a pan and heating up the pan for the peas. And Chris does not really, he's not really fond of peas, but I like peas. And so it came with the recipe, he can't complain. So that was salted butter. I didn't really put that much salt in there anymore because the butter's salted, and I put some pepper in it. And here we have the thawed out onion. And it's actually fairly easy to cut. So what I did cook the onions in the low pan. I ended up cooking the whole onion. I mean, we like onions anyways. It took a moment to get them cooked. Here the meatballs were getting done, so that's looking good. And the potatoes were cooked, so we just blanched them with cold water so they don't overcook. Which in this case, they're mashed potatoes, it won't really matter. And you use a masher to mash the potatoes. You put 2 teaspoons of butter, which it's really nice. They already show you. I like putting in the butter in hot potatoes. Put in the sour cream and pepper. Don't rub your eyes after you do that because I put the pepper in my hand. And the onions are coming along. You put the onions in the gravy. Then you make the gravy with a cup of water. I think my pan is a little bit too small, but I don't care. Put in the beef flavoring or bouillon, and then the Philadelphia cheese I put in there, and a little bit of nutmeg, and mixed it up together. And once it turned gravy-ish, I put in the onions after. That's just pepper, and mix it well. Here I'm making Chris's plate. I put in the peas and the mashed potatoes. I put in half of the meatballs and the gravy and onions. And here I put an extra vegetable. I got collard greens, I think. And I close it up, put it in the fridge, and he can heat that up in the morning or whenever it's his lunchtime in the microwave. And it's Tupperware, yeah. It's an old Tupperware, but it still holds good. This is my plate. It's good for 2 people. So I make my plate and then I place everything in there. I cover it up with plastic cellophane and I put it in the fridge. And when it's my lunch, I eat it. So I don't have to worry. Since I work from home, I don't have to cook because I only have 30 minutes for lunch and I don't want to use up all my lunch for cooking. And I have some leftover gravy. I can use it for something else and put that in the fridge.